Okay, I'm live. Hey, how are you right now? I woke up from my beauty nap and I'm back. I figure I'd do a video before I go to work this evening. So I want to talk about the new tactic that the right developed to discredit socialism. First, socialism in the United States is a term that has many connotations. The American right claims that socialism is what they had in places like the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, North Korea, and Venezuela. They'll claim that, and or they'll claim that anything that they don't like, they could stump their toe and they'll work. Any policy that the U.S. has, they will call it socialism, and it's really lazy thinking a lot of the times. And but some of the even more hateful factions of the American political right will claim that Hitler was a socialist because the word socialist was used in the name German Workers' National Socialist Party. Never mind that the Social Democrats and the communists were banned, criminalized, put into camps with the Jews and all the other people that Hitler exterminated, and that trade unions were banned. Never mind that, and never mind that Hitler's the ideology Hitler despised the most was communism. So never mind these things that will claim that Hitler was a socialist. Some of the more thoughtful and intellectually honest factions of the right would try to give you some cogent, halfway reasonable reasons why Western democracies, where they have the welfare state, the infamous free healthcare, why it doesn't work either in those countries, or why it would not be practical and would not work here. Um, so there's that, but there is now a new tactic by the right, by all portions of the right, even if they disagree with each other amongst themselves over what is proper conservatism. The libertarians, the neoconservatives, the religious right, the paleo conservatives, just pretty much the broad base center right in this country will sit there amongst themselves and decide to own the libs and own the progressives, telling them, oh, well, those Nordic countries that you love so much, the one that Bernie Sanders brags so much about, they're not socialists. They're not socialists at all, and that they're actually more capitalist than the United States. They got lower corporate tax rates, or they have years, or they'll gloat. They will gloat over they'll gloat over the most recent election by the right, whatever conservative party defeated whatever social democratic party in the most recent election. They'll gloat over that and be like, "Well, you see, that proves socialism doesn't work. The people have spoken in Great Britain. The conservatives, when they rejected the Labour Party, or 10 years ago when Angela Merkel, before that Angela Merkel became hated by the American right, they were so glad because she was supposed to be Germany's Margaret Thatcher, and it was kind of like, well, you see, Angela Merkel took over. Those social democrats, the people rejected the social democrats in Germany, or it'll be something like that, and you'll be hearing it about how conservatives, when they defeat social democrats in those elections, that is absolutely right there, the end of socialism, and there's no turning back. That's how they go about it. But you know what? They have elections like we have here. I will argue that those European countries have better elections than we do, because you're just not stuck with two parties, you're stuck with multiple parties to choose from. But the point is that just because the Social Democrats were defeated by the Christian Democrats in Germany, or that the Tories defeated the Labour Party in the UK, or whenever the Union for a Popular Majority defeated the Socialists in France. Just because those things happen, do do these conservatives in the United States think that they'll never ever see those countries will never see another social democratic government again in Sweden, or another Labour government in the UK, or another socialist government in France? Do they really believe that? Right? Elections, you got the pendulums that swings back and forth between the center left and center right in these democracies. And here's the thing: when the center right wins those elections in places like Germany, in places like Norway or Sweden or Denmark or in the UK or in France or in Italy or what have you, healthcare is still free to the entire population. They did not be like, oh, we're going to go and adopt the American model of healthcare because that's just the way it is. No, at least European conservatives and the center right, at least they have the good sense to know what would happen if they Americanized the healthcare system. Yeah, it's true. Sweden it went with a full steam ahead socialist program for the Social Democrats in 1976. And I believe it was in 1982 they got defeated, and then there was privatization of certain state-owned industry, that sort of thing. It's the kind of same thing what happened in the UK with Margaret Thatcher, although she accelerated it even more so than they did in Sweden. But the point is, healthcare is still free for the entire population. Majority of the population belong to a trade union. Even in the UK, as much as Thatcher savaged the unions in the UK, they're still way more powerful than unions are here in the United States, with 6% of the workforce. Well, I hear this thing about, well, these countries do not have they have aggressive trade policies, and so they engage in free trade, and they have lower corporate tax rates, and you know they don't even have a minimum wage law. Well, you don't need a minimum wage law when you have majority of the workforce in a union where you can negotiate. The unions and the companies can negotiate. I mean, but you see what the right will like to do in this country is to adopt all those things, those little nuances there that makes them technically more free market than the United States, without actually adopting some of the actual socialistic policies that work, such as the free medical care, things like that here, or having it so where you have more unions in the workforce. They're opposed to more unionization. They're opposed to free medical care. They're opposed to the generous safety net that they have over there. So they want to keep what is shitty about the American economy and take what they could pick and choose what they like in those countries that are a little more that will be a little more to conducive to what they like. Now here's the thing. Yeah, I am a protectionist. I admit I'm a protectionist. Fair trade is better than free trade any day. And but the thing is, we can deal with free trade a hell of a lot better if we had Medicare for all. A lot of companies will likely stay here in the United States if we had Medicare for all, because right now we have medical inflation. We have medical inflation because of the for-profit private health insurance companies, and for pharmaceutical industry, which is not regulated, and where the U.S. government is forbidden for negotiating for lower drug prices, things like this. You go and have Medicare for all, it's going to go a long way to solving a lot of America's problems. You'll see bankruptcy due to medical bills gone for working families. You'll see companies staying here, and companies will be able to reinvest in their companies way better and be more effective and more competitive. So, here's the thing about the conservative-minded American capitalists, and even many liberal capitalists, they just don't freaking get it. They don't get it. I mean, I'm a social democrat through and through right now. But if I were to turn conservative tomorrow, my position on healthcare would not change because healthcare is pretty much everything. If you can't, as long as we have this criminal health insurance systems running things in the United States, we're not going to progress, and we're just going to they're going to destroy our economy. They're going to destroy the way we do things here. Um, I'm not opposed to the so-called free enterprise system, but they need some checks and balances, and some things the government can do better than the private sector. And I know I'm going to hear say, "And there's nothing the government can do better than the private sector." Oh, please, please! I don't want to hear that. That's so silly. That's you know, all of us on the left kind of finger point at each other and call ourselves sectarian when somebody's belligerent and unyielding. And, even me, a milquetoast social democrat, I have been accused of being sectarian by other leftists. And I have accused other leftists of being sectarians, and we're just one big old happy circular firing squad at times. But the point is that so is the right. Sectarianism is just not only for the American left or the left in general. You have the right that can't see eye to eye on things, but unfortunately, they have an art of earning out their details way better than the left. But the point I'm trying to make is, whenever you hear John Stossel, who is a very silly man, or you hear whatever hack on Fox News, Fox Business Report, what have you, you hear them sitting there decrying and telling people that socialism in Europe don't work. Just be a free thinker for a moment. Don't sip the Kool-Aid. Because they contradict. You know, they'll contradict you when you respond. And here's the thing: there is an element of truth to what they said about the lower tax rate and things like that. So if you try to be halfway, magnanimous and to have the discussion, have a civil discussion, and say, well, if European countries are just basic free market societies that are more free market than the United States, but have progressive taxation and a more generous welfare state, well then, and that's what it is, and they're just still capitalists. Well, okay, let's go and adopt those policies. They'll turn around and say, we can't do that because that's socialism. So I mean, you just can't deal with them. I mean, and, to me, I would insist that the United States can't progress forward for the better until we learn a few of the neat things that's done in other countries, things that are settled issues in other countries, settled that even the extreme right in those countries and aspects of the welfare state in a way that even Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer or Joe Biden can't be. How freaking sad is that? But so I just want to lay to the end this myth about the right wing in this country trying to reshape the narrative. So when you prove them wrong that you're not trying to emulate Venezuela, they still going to try to find a way to turn it all around. But here's the thing. Let me talk about Venezuela for a moment. Their particular approach is not what I would favor. But here's the thing you need to know about Venezuela. It ain't a communist economy. It's not socialist. It's still basically predominantly a free market economy that is ruled, that the economy is run by corporate oligarchs, and the government is currently an incompetent communist government that still can't do everything they want to do because there is an opposition. And so the United States made matters worse by bullying Venezuela. It's funny. The United States, Venezuela's an oil-rich country. We want to bully them around, and they're not even a threat to the United States. But the United States enables a country like Saudi Arabia that basically fund radical Islamist terrorism against the West is all coming out of Saudi Arabia, and that Saudi Arabia, a country that execute homosexuals, a country that execute anybody that leaves the religion of Islam, a country that basically criminalize political dissent, execute women activists that fought for the right for women to drive cars in Saudi Arabia. The United States enabled Saudi Arabia so much that they're going to be selling arms to Saudi Arabia for them to go and give money and financial aid and military hardware to Al Qaeda down in Yemen, as there is a genocide that's being conducted by Saudi Arabia against the people of Yemen by enabling the radical terrorist cells down there. And the United States is kind of being complicit because our military industrial complex and our intelligence agency and the neocons, they're in this mindset that this is what they got to do, even though it is fundamentally wrong. But Venezuela, it doesn't do anything against the United States. What do? We kick them around. We bully them around. And you look down in the Central and down in Latin America, it's what the United States have done over the years. So anyway, I just don't understand the American government's mindset sometimes, or the mindset of the American right at times. We're not a normal country because our Overton window is shifted the wrong way. It's shifted so far to the right. It's shifted so far to the right that someone like myself, who's a milquetoast social democrat, is on the radical fringy left. Where anyway, just something to think about. If you like what you heard, press like. If you're triggered, well, you're just gonna have to be triggered. Either way, comment, share this information, any information I have on my channel, and subscribe, of course. As a First Amendment absolutist, it is my duty to tell you and urge you that you have a platform. Please utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Like, subscribe, comment, share. And until next time, peace. Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024. And I wasn't kidding when I said that.